Hello everyone, welcome to LBS IS Academy. Today we are going to discuss history MCQs based on previous year UPSC questions. So let's start our session. Our first question is, which one of the following epic of ancient India has the love story of son of founder of Sunga dynasty? Options are Swapnavasavadatta, Malavikagnimitra, Meghadoota, Ratnavali. Here answer to this question is option B, Malavikagnimitra. Malavikagnimitra is the first drama written by famous poet Kalidasa. Malavikagnimitra tells the story of King Agnimitra, the Sunga Empire of Vidisha, who falls in love with the picture of an exiled servant girl named Malavika. So your answer to this question is option B. Consider the following statements. The Chinese pilgrim Faxian attended the fourth great Buddhist council held by Kanishka. That is incorrect. The Chinese pilgrim Hensang met Harsha and found him to be antagonistic to Buddhism. That is incorrect. Which of the statements given above is correct? Here answer to this question is option D. None of the statements are correct. Faxian was a Chinese pilgrim who visited India in the early 5th century during the reign of Chandragupta II on a religious mission. He travelled by foot from China to India and returned by sea route. Fourth Buddhist Council conducted under the patronage of King Kanishka, and it was held in the 1st century. Hence statement 1 is incorrect. Hensang was a Chinese Buddhist monk who travelled overland from China to India during the reign of King Harshavardhan to obtain Buddhist scriptures. He was impressed by King Harsha's patronage of both scholarship and Buddhism. He also visited many sacred Buddhist sites in what are now in Xinjiang, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka to acquire Buddhist texts. Hence statement 2 is incorrect. So your answer to this question is option D. With reference to Rowlatt Satyagraha, which of the following statement is or are correct? The Rowlatt Act was based on the recommendations of the Sedition Committee. That is correct. In Rowlatt Satyagraha, Gandhiji tried to use Home Rule League. That is correct. Demonstrations against the Simon Commission coincided with the Rowlatt Satyagraha. That is incorrect. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is option B. Statement 1 and 2 are correct. The Rowlatt Act was the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act of 1990 passed by the British Indian government. This act gave the government the power to imprison any person suspected of terrorist activities for a maximum period of 2 years without trial. All Indian leaders opposed this act. Gandhi thought that constitutional measures would be in vain, and so he proposed a nationwide hartal in protest. This was known as the Rowlatt Satyagraha. The Rowlatt Committee was a sedition committee appointed in 1918 by the British Indian government with Sidney Rowlatt, an English judge, as its president. So statement 1 is correct. The purpose of the committee was to evaluate political terrorism in India, especially Bengal and Punjab. In organizing his Satyagraha, Gandhi tried to utilize 3 types of political networks: the Home Rule Leagues, certain pan-Islamist groups, and a Satyagraha Sabha, which he himself started in Bombay. So statement 2 is correct. But statement 3 is incorrect. As you know, Rowlatt Satyagraha was in 1990 and demonstration against Simon Commission was in 1928. So the answer to this question is option B. Two of the following were economic critics of colonialism: Dadabhai Navroji, G. Subramania Iyer, R.C. Dutt. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. The answer to this question is option D, all the above. Dadabhai Navroji, R.C. Dutt, Ranade, Gokhale and G. Subramania Iyer were among those who grounded Indian nationalism firmly on the foundation of anti-imperialism by highlighting economic critique of colonialism. The drain theory was established by Dadabhai Navroji. Ramesh Chandra Dutt, a retired ICS officer, published the Economic History of India at the beginning of 20th century, in which he examined in minute detail the entire economic record of colonial rule since 1757. Increased poverty and lower wages were among the indirect products of colonial rule, according to R.C. Dutt. G. Subramania Iyer was the founder of Hindu in 1878 and the Tamil newspaper Swadesh Mitran in 18. So your answer to this question is option. With reference to Congress Socialist Party, consider the following statements. It advocated the boycott of British goods and evasion of taxes. That is incorrect. It wanted to establish the dictatorship of proletariat. That is incorrect. It advocated separate electorate for minorities and oppressed classes. That is incorrect. Which of the statement given above is or are correct? The answer to this question is option D. None of the above statements are correct. Congress Socialist Party was formed in 1934 as party within the Congress. It was in favor of socialist ideas within the Congress. It believed in democratic socialism. It did not favor separate electorates. The Congress Socialist Party advocated decentralized socialism in which cooperatives, trade unions, independent farmers and local authorities would hold a substantial share of the economic power. So her answer to this question is option B. Which one of the following movements has contributed to a split in the International Congress, resulting in emergence of moderates and extremists? Options are Swadeshi movement, Quit India movement, non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement. Here answer to this question is option A, Swadeshi movement. Due to the failure of the moderate-led Swadeshi movement, the extremists gained a dominant influence over the Swadeshi movement in Bengal after 1905 till 1908. It's also known as the era of passionate nationalists. In 1907 Surat session, the two main objectives placed by the extremists were demand for the resolution of Swaraj and Lala Rajpat Rai to be made the president of International Congress. But these two demands were not acceptable to the moderates. The Surat split was due to the disagreement between moderates and extremists. Method for protest against the partition of Bengal in the Swadeshi movement was also a cause for the split. Here, answer cannot be B, C or D because moderates and extremists reunited in the Lucknow session 1916, which was before non-cooperation, Quit India and civil disobedience movements. So her answer to this question is option A. With reference to cabinet mission, which of the following statement is or are correct? Options are: it recommended a federal government, that is correct. It enlarged the powers of the Indian courts, incorrect. It provided for more Indians in the ICS, that is incorrect. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is option A, statement 1 only is correct. The cabinet mission plan of 1946 proposed that the central government at Delhi would have powers over the defense, foreign affairs, communications and currency. The rest of the powers would be vested with the provinces. All subjects other than the union subjects and all the residuary powers would be vested in the provinces. Thus, the cabinet mission plan proposed a weak center with provincial autonomy, essentially proposing a federal structure of government. It did not make any recommendations related to courts or ICS. Hence, here the answer to this question is option A. With reference to Indian history, which of the following is or are essential elementary elements of feudal system? Options are a very strong centralized political authority and a very weak provincial or local political authority. That is incorrect. Emergence of administrative structure based on control and possession of land. That is correct. Creation of lord-vassal relationship between the feudal lord and his overlord. That is correct. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is option D. Statement 2 and 3 are correct and statement 1 is incorrect. Feudalism was a dominant social system in the medieval times. In this system, the nobility held lands from the crown in exchange for military service, and vassals were in turn tenants of the nobles, while the peasants were obliged to live on their lord's land and give him homage, labor, and a share of the produce in exchange for military protection. So her answer to this question is option B. Consider the following. The arrival of Babur into India led to the options are introduction of gunpowder, introduction of the arch and dome in the regions of architecture, establishment of Timur dynasty. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is option B. Statement 3 only is correct. The Mongols' invasion led to the transmission of gunpowder and gunpowder weapons into India. Chinese gunpowder technology is believed to have arrived in India by the mid-14th century, but it was introduced much earlier by the Mongols. It is believed that Mongols used Chinese gunpowder weapons during their invasion of India. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. The arch and dome in the regions of architecture were introduced by the Turks after the invasion of Muhammad Ghori. Hence, statement 2 is incorrect. Babur is the founder of Mughal Empire in India. He was a descendant of Timur on his father's side and Genghis Khan on his mother's side. His original name was Sahiruddin Muhammad. Hence, statement 3 is correct. So, your answer to this question is option B.